So I want to tell you guys a little story. So over this past weekend, I got the chance to second shoot for my wife, Karis. Now, watching her do her thing with her clients was one of the greatest joys in my career. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, my wife started her own brand in the middle of the pandemic, sometime in 2021. Now, if there's one silver lining in this godforsaken pandemic, it was that my wife's gorgeous work finally had a home of its own. For almost 12 years, her work was featured under my brand, the Ben Loud brand, but she never got any credit for any of her amazing work. So now that she's got her own brand, this was no longer the case. Anyhow, we shoot with each other when the schedule allows, and I'm very proud to say that my wife has booked 20 weddings for herself this year. Now, for someone who's always proclaimed to be an artist first and a business person second, this is a huge effing deal. I am so proud of her like you guys don't even know. Now, for those of you guys who are doing the math, if someone wants to hire my wife to shoot their wedding, she ain't cheap, clocking in at right around $4,500 just for coverage. This is not including the albums, this is not including the wall art or the prints or anything like that, right? But once you include those things, along with the dozens of family sessions, the elopements, and all the other little shoots that she does throughout the year, she cleared 6 figures in her first year, all by herself, built mostly on referrals and maybe a little bit of social media. So this made me think. Because everywhere I go, I see ads and Facebook groups on how to become a 6-figure wedding photographer or how to break 6 figures doing this, and that. Like it's this pile of gold on top of this mountain top, and it's just so out of reach for so many people. Now, as a business coach, many of my students, they share that goal and that aspiration with me, right? They tell me that they want to break 6 figures doing this photography thing. So, of course, they'll buy this SEO course, or maybe they'll buy a social media course. Maybe they might attend a workshop. Maybe they'll raise their prices too, and they'll try IPS. They'll try to attend networking events. They'll pay for wedding wire, they'll pay referral fees. Some of them will even pay to be on vendor lists. Now, for some folks, this stuff works, right? I'm not trying to knock any of these marketing strategies. I'm sure this stuff works, or else they wouldn't exist, right? They all exist for a reason. But let me tell you something. My wife, in the past year, she has not touched any of that stuff. She doesn't pay anybody a penny. Blogging is not her forte. She hates blogging. And she only occasionally posts on social media. And yet she's cleared 6 figures in bookings in her first year. Now, it might be easy to say, well, she's married to Ben effing Loud, right? She's getting all his overage and all his referrals, right? Now, if you thought that, you would be 100% incorrect. And that's because we serve completely different audiences. The referrals that I send her, they don't close. And she doesn't even bother sending them my way because I'm not going to close her referrals either. And yes, we do have an associate brand as well, but those clients are not our clients. So I can tell you with 100% certainty, she's not mooching off any of my referrals, and she's not mooching off of our associate brand either. Now, that being said, how the hell is she getting all these clients then? Well, lucky for me, I get to witness this firsthand this past weekend. Now, the moment that she arrives on the venue, she makes a beeline towards the bride and the groom. She introduces herself to everyone in the room, and when she arrives, she's like the couple's best friend. She gives everyone a big old hug, and they're just so excited to see her. And then she makes a beeline for the owner and the catering managers and calls them out by their names and announces her presence. She lets them know that she's on site. And for some reason or another, she gets a big old hug from them too. I think it's also important to mention that this is only my wife's second time on the property. And through some miracle, she had somehow managed to charm her way onto their preferred vendor list without having to pay anyone a penny, simply by virtue of her previous visit earlier last year. Then for the next 7 or 8 hours, Karis does her thing. The bride has some special requests that kind of puts her off her spiel, right? And she's like, listen, bride, whatever you need, whatever you want, right? And then our introverted groom gets a little bit tired from all the picture taking. My wife's like, hey, listen, man, we are done. Just go enjoy your party. Now, even though we shot for only 8 hours that day, it was a long day, if you know what I mean. It was hot, we were sweaty, we were tired, and we just wanted to go home and sleep. But the bride and groom, they have this bonfire for their send-off, right? So our coverage is over, but my wife stays an extra 15 minutes to make sure that she gets a little bit of coverage of that bonfire for the couple. Doesn't charge them overtime, right? She just wants to get some of these photos for the couple. And the couple is so appreciative of that she stayed, even when she didn't have to. And you would think that was it, right? So Karis, my wife, and myself included, by the way, we had already stayed a little bit longer than we needed to, right? But nevertheless, my wife deliberately went out of her way to find the venue owner and the catering manager, thanking them for helping us make this day possible and a success. And they talked for another 10 to 15 minutes about antique shops and brunch shops around town. Mind you, we are exhausted and I just wanted to go home. Now, after she's done there, she makes a beeline towards the DJ and the video crew and thanks them as well. And they all get sweaty hugs as well. Then we finally make our way home. Now, on the car ride home, I couldn't help but laugh because she had taken a page directly out of my marketing playbook on getting referrals. I mean, she did it her own way, but I couldn't be happier for her and I couldn't be more proud. Now, this venue is out in Hudson Valley, so it's a long ride home back to New Jersey. So we got to talking about sales and marketing because that's what every husband and wife photography team does, right? That's what they talk about on their downtime, right? But in any case, we got to talking about how some of the folks that we know in the industry, some of our friends, they struggle with this part of their business, the sales and marketing part. And it's a huge challenge for them to find work, to attract clients. And, their work is pretty solid and their pricing is pretty fair. So sometimes we don't understand why, right? It's challenging for them to get on preferred vendor list. What are they doing differently? What was my wife doing differently? What was I doing differently, right? So how do you get others to shout your name from the rooftops? That's the biggest question here, right? So we quickly concluded that it really came down to three things. The first one is doing good work. The second one was coming from a place of service. And last but not least, it's not being an asshole. Now, we'll start with the first one, right? Doing good work. And it sounds so stupid, right? But at the end of the day, that's it. You've got to constantly work on your craft. You got to constantly try to make it better. My wife's already a talented photographer, but she's constantly looking for ways to improve her images. Not with gimmicks or with gear, but constantly pushing herself out of her comfort zone by pushing her clients out of their comfort zone. She's always learning. She's attending workshops, getting CC. But even with all this experimentation, she's got all her fundamentals down. Her images are clean, they're bright, and they're fun. And she gets all her family photo combinations. She gets all her moments down. She does good work, and it makes other people look good, like the venue owner or the catering manager who referred her. The second one is coming from a place of service. And oftentimes as artists, we forget that we are also in the service industry. The cameras that are in our hands are simply tools of our trade. No different than a pair of clippers for the barber or a lawnmower for the landscaper. At the end of the day, we are there to serve. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, duh, of course, customer service, everyone knows that, right? But it's not so simple. Most business owners are serving just one person in the room, the one who's paying them. As wedding photographers, some of us are serving two individuals in the room, the couple themselves. And Karis and I think that this is where folks kind of mess it up, right? That they overlook the opportunity to serve everyone in the room, all the other folks who are there who didn't pay us to be there. And this includes the parents, the siblings, the wedding party, and also the florist, videographer, DJ, and venue owner, and the attendant and the bartender. Not only are we looking for ways to make the experience more enjoyable for the couple, we are looking for ways to make everyone's life more easier, more fun, and more productive. And it all starts with that mindset. What can I do to help make this person's job a little bit easier? Now, if you don't know, you can ask. They appreciate it and they remember it. And most importantly, they remember you, which brings me to my next and last point. If vendors had a choice between working with someone who made their lives easy, made their jobs fun, and didn't get in the way, or working with someone who was a complete asshole, made a mess everywhere he went, who's just an insufferable human being, who do you think that they're going to refer when given the opportunity? Now, this is not to say that if you're not getting referred, it must mean you're an asshole, right? I'm not saying that. You could very well be in that squishy middle part too, where they felt indifferent working with you. And the entire experience was insignificant and forgettable. You didn't really make a meaningful impact in their lives or in their work. You clocked in, you did your work, you probably ignored them for the whole day, then you clocked out. Now, if that's your working style, of course they're not going to remember you. But if you're kind and you're friendly and you're helpful and you go out of your way to come from a place of service, to show your appreciation for all their hard work, and showing them some gratitude, of course, that all goes a long way. A simple, hey, thank you so much for all your hard work today and for helping make this day a success. You guys are amazing, and I look forward to working with you guys again. I look forward to sharing these photos with you guys. How meaningful would that be if someone said that to you? You'd remember that, wouldn't you? And there you guys have it. And that's basically how my wife did it. And this is how you break six figures too. By doing good work, coming from a place of service, and not being an asshole. Not a tall order, is it? Anyway, I hope that in today's video, you guys learned a little bit more about how you can build a marketing machine that works on autopilot for you. And that it's also possible that you can earn six figures in this line of work if you do all the right things without killing yourself, paying for leads or referrals. Now, if you guys want to learn more about how we do this, how we build this lead generating machine for our businesses, I do have good news for you. I am currently putting together a workshop that will teach just that and a whole lot more. Now, if you guys are interested, comment below, show me the details, and I will be in touch with you guys when it's ready. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, share, invite your friends to the party. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys at the next one.